My beloved child, there is a reason the attacks against your life became so intense. A reason the pressure increased whenever you tried moving forward. A reason discouragement seemed to follow you during the moments you were closest to breakthrough. It was never random. The enemy saw something in you long before you saw it in yourself. Purpose. That is why the warfare became personal. Because darkness does not waste energy attacking empty vessels. The attacks came because your spirit carries something valuable, something dangerous to darkness, something heaven placed inside you before you were even born. And although you did not fully understand it at the time, the enemy recognized your potential early. That is why confusion surrounded your thoughts so often. That is why fear tried attaching itself to your future. That is why exhaustion kept trying to silence your spirit. The goal was never merely to hurt you. The goal was to make you quit before you discovered who you truly are. But my child, you survived, and that changes everything. Do not skip this next part, because your survival is not ordinary. You survived what should have broken you. Read that again within your spirit. You survived what should have destroyed your faith completely. You survived betrayals that emotionally shattered you. You survived nights where anxiety wrapped around your thoughts so heavily you could barely breathe peacefully. You survived seasons where loneliness became so deep you questioned whether anyone truly understood your pain. You survived disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. And still, you are here, still breathing, still listening, still searching for me, despite everything that tried pulling you away. That is not weakness, my beloved. That is proof that my hand remained over your life, even in the darkest moments. Remember these words: the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. John 10:10. Do you understand now? The enemy was trying to steal your peace before you discovered your purpose, trying to destroy your confidence before your voice fully awakened, trying to kill your hope before your breakthrough arrived. Because darkness feared what would happen if you ever fully realized who you are becoming. My child, there were moments you came very close to giving up, moments you became emotionally exhausted from constantly fighting invisible battles. You smiled in front of people while secretly wondering how much more your spirit could endure. You kept functioning externally while internally your heart felt shattered. And yet something inside you refused to completely surrender. Do you know why? Because I planted resilience inside your spirit long before the warfare ever arrived. The enemy underestimated what I placed within you. Yes, you cried. Yes, you broke down. Yes, there were nights you felt completely overwhelmed. But even at your lowest point, your spirit still carried a small, surviving flame of hope. That flame came from me, and no darkness could extinguish what heaven itself protected. My beloved child, you thought the warfare meant you were abandoned, but actually, it was confirmation that your life carries significance. Ordinary paths do not provoke extraordinary resistance, and the attacks intensified because your awakening became dangerous to the kingdom of fear surrounding your life. The enemy wanted you distracted, emotionally numb, spiritually exhausted, addicted to survival mode, because a distracted soul struggles to hear my voice clearly. But despite every attack, your spirit kept awakening anyway. That is why things began shifting recently, because after all the battles, your discernment became sharper. Your dependence on me became deeper. Your spirit became stronger than you realize. You are no longer the same fragile version of yourself that entered the storm. You changed inside it. And now even the enemy recognizes that something about you is different. My child, there were attacks you never even saw directly. Moments heaven blocked emotional collapse before it fully consumed your spirit. Moments my angels stood guard over your mind while fear tried convincing you that your life had no future. Moments you should have completely lost yourself emotionally, but somehow survived anyway. That somehow was me, holding you together quietly, protecting your spirit while you could barely protect yourself. And although the battle exhausted you, it also revealed your strength. You discovered resilience you did not know existed. You discovered wisdom through pain, discernment through betrayal, faith through exhaustion. And now, because of everything you survived, you are becoming harder to deceive emotionally. The storm sharpened your spirit, my beloved. The enemy thought isolation would destroy you. Instead, isolation awakened you. The enemy thought heartbreak would harden you. Instead, heartbreak deepened your discernment. The enemy thought exhaustion would silence you. Instead, exhaustion forced you closer to my presence. Everything sent to destroy you accidentally pushed you toward awakening instead. That is the twist darkness never expected. You were never meant to die in the storm. You were meant to emerge transformed through it. And yes, I know you still carry scars. Some emotional wounds still ache quietly at night. Some memories still trigger sadness. Some fears still try returning when your spirit becomes tired. But notice something important. You are still moving forward despite all of it. That means the attacks failed. The warfare did not finish you. The fear did not own you. The betrayal did not permanently destroy your heart. And the exhaustion did not silence your destiny. You are still here, still chosen, still protected, still carrying purpose. My child, there is something powerful about survivors, especially spiritual survivors. Because once someone survives darkness they thought would destroy them, they stop fearing certain things the same way. That is what is happening inside you now. You are beginning to realize that if I carried you through your darkest season, then surely I can carry you into your next one too. That realization is changing your spirit slowly. You are becoming braver, calmer, more discerning, less desperate for approval, less willing to tolerate emotional chaos, and more aware of my presence than ever before. The battle revealed your identity. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are someone heaven preserved intentionally. That is why the enemy fought so hard to discourage you before your transformation fully unfolded. Because once you fully awaken to your purpose, you will begin helping others escape the darkness you survived yourself. Your story carries power now. Your survival carries testimony. Your healing will carry light into places where hopeless people still feel trapped. And that is exactly why darkness feared your survival so deeply. But my beloved child, hear me carefully now. The season of constant warfare is beginning to shift, not because challenges disappear completely, but because your spirit is no longer fighting from the same weak place it once did. You are stronger now, wiser now, closer to me now, and soon you will begin recognizing how much growth already happened inside you. During the very seasons you thought were only destroying you, nothing was wasted, not one battle, not one tear, not one sleepless night. I was building something inside you the entire time. And now, your awakening is becoming visible. If you are still standing after everything you survived, comment, I trust you. God, let that declaration remind your spirit of something important tonight. You may have been attacked, but you were never abandoned, and the fact that you survived the storm means your purpose is still alive. My beloved child, I know the silence has been painful for you. There were moments you prayed and heard nothing, moments you waited and nothing seemed to move. Moments you searched desperately for answers while heaven appeared completely quiet. And slowly, the silence began affecting your heart. You started wondering if I still heard you, if I still saw you, if your prayers were somehow being ignored. You watched other people move forward while your own life felt paused. You watched doors open for others while yours remained shut. And secretly, you began asking yourself a painful question. Did God forget me? But my child, listen carefully now. I was never absent inside the silence. I was working invisibly, quietly, deeply, preparing things your human eyes could not yet see. Do not skip this next part, because this truth is about to restore hope inside your spirit again. The silence was never punishment. The silence was preparation. There are seasons where I move loudly, and there are seasons where I work beneath the surface before revealing what has been forming all along. And your life entered one of those hidden seasons, a season where roots were growing underground even while nothing visible seemed to bloom above the surface. I know waiting exhausted you, especially because you carried so many unanswered questions. Questions about your future, questions about relationships, questions about purpose, questions about why everything suddenly felt delayed. And because answers did not arrive quickly, discouragement slowly started whispering lies into your spirit. Nothing will ever change. You have waited too long. Maybe your breakthrough is never coming. But those whispers were never from me. Because, my child, the answer is closer than you think. Yes, closer than you realize right now. Remember these words. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. Do you understand what that means? What feels delayed to you has never been delayed to me. Heaven does not panic during seasons of silence, because heaven sees the full picture while human hearts only see the waiting. You interpreted silence as absence, but I was arranging things carefully behind the scenes, protecting timing, preparing people, positioning opportunities, healing parts of your spirit that needed strengthening before the blessing arrived. Because if I had released certain things too early, they would have entered your life before your soul was prepared to carry them safely. And my beloved, you were not ready before. Not emotionally, not spiritually, not yet. There were wounds still controlling your reactions, fears still shaping your decisions, attachments still clouding your discernment. So while you cried over the silence, I was healing you inside it, quietly transforming you into someone capable of sustaining the very blessings you were praying for. My child, think about how much you have changed already during this waiting season. You are not the same person you were before the silence began. You see people differently now. You protect your peace differently now. You recognize red flags faster now. You depend on me more deeply now. That growth happened inside the waiting. And one day you will realize the silence shaped you more powerfully than immediate answers ever could have. I know there were nights where you became emotionally tired of hoping. Nights where disappointment felt heavier than faith. Moments where your spirit quietly whispered, how much longer? I heard every one of those questions, every exhausted prayer, every tear, every frustrated silence, and still, I remained near you, even when you could not feel me clearly, because silence does not mean abandonment. Sometimes silence means construction is happening where human eyes cannot yet see. A builder works longest on the foundation before the building becomes visible. And, my beloved, much of your new season has been built beneath the surface. That is why your spirit kept feeling unusual lately, because even while nothing looked different outwardly, heaven was already shifting things internally. Doors were moving, people were being repositioned, certain hidden delays were slowly breaking apart, and soon, what was invisible will begin becoming visible. Do not lose hope now, not this close, not after everything you survived already. The enemy wants you emotionally exhausted right before breakthrough arrives. Wants you to stop expecting goodness before the answer finally appears. Wants your spirit to quit during the exact moment heaven is already preparing movement behind the scenes. But my child, you have not waited this long for nothing. Your prayers were not wasted, your tears were not ignored, your faith was not meaningless. Even now, while you listen to these words, things are unfolding that will soon surprise you. Unexpected clarity, unexpected opportunities, unexpected restoration, unexpected peace. And when those moments begin appearing, you will finally understand why heaven remained silent for so long. Because preparation was happening invisibly. My beloved, there are blessings that require spiritual maturity before they arrive safely. and your waiting season created maturity inside you. You learned patience, discernment, dependence on me, emotional wisdom. Without realizing it, the silence strengthened you. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it stretched your spirit painfully at times, but it also deepened your connection with me in ways comfort never could have. Now your spirit listens differently, prays differently, discerns differently, because the silence forced you to stop relying only on visible evidence, and that shift changed you permanently. My child, there were moments during this waiting season where you felt forgotten by people too, not only by circumstances. Some people stopped checking on you. Some disappeared during your hardest moments. Some only remained close when your life appeared easier or more beneficial to them. And although that loneliness wounded your heart, it also revealed who genuinely carried light around your spirit. The silence exposed many things, not only your pain. It exposed hidden motives, false connections, weak foundations. And now that your discernment has sharpened, your next season will not carry the same emotional blindness as your last one did. That wisdom came through the waiting. Nothing was wasted, nothing. My beloved child, I need you to hear this clearly tonight. The silence is ending, not instantly, not all at once, but slowly, unmistakably. Movement is beginning. Soon your spirit will feel it more strongly. The heaviness will start lifting. The confusion will begin clearing, and moments of unusual confirmation will start appearing more frequently around your life. Pay attention to those moments, because they will remind you that heaven never stopped moving on your behalf. Even during the seasons where nothing seemed to happen, the answer is closer than you think, closer than your exhausted heart currently believes. And when it finally arrives, you will look back at this long season of silence with completely different eyes. You will realize I was never ignoring you. I was preparing you, preparing your heart, preparing your spirit, preparing your future, and preparing blessings so much greater than the small answers you once begged me for. My beloved, hold on a little longer. Do not let discouragement steal your expectation now, because after all this waiting, after all this silence, after all these hidden seasons, something is finally beginning to move. My beloved child, I know there are still doors you secretly cry about, doors you wanted so badly to stay open, relationships, opportunities, dreams, plans you imagined would finally bring peace into your life. And when those doors suddenly closed, it shattered something inside you, because you truly believed that was the path meant for you. You prayed over it, hoped for it, fought for it. You imagined your future through it. So when it collapsed, your heart struggled to understand why. You questioned yourself endlessly. Why did this happen? Why would God let me get so close only to lose it? Why did the door close after I invested so much emotionally? Listen carefully now, my child. The closed door was not rejection, it was mercy. Yes, mercy. Because sometimes what you call heartbreak is actually protection wearing unfamiliar clothing. You only saw what you wanted in that season, but I saw where that path eventually would have led your spirit. And because I love you too deeply to let temporary desires destroy your future, I closed certain doors before they could permanently damage your peace. Do not skip this next part. This truth will free something heavy inside your heart. You keep grieving over doors that would have eventually become prisons. You keep mourning opportunities that would have slowly drained your spirit. You keep romanticizing connections that would have eventually wounded you far more deeply later. But heaven saw the ending before you reached it. And what looked beautiful from your perspective carried hidden pain beneath the surface. That is why the door closed. Not because you were unworthy, not because you failed, but because I refused to let your future collapse inside something that was never meant to hold your destiny. Remember these words. I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. Do you understand what this means, my beloved? If a door truly belongs to your destiny, no human being can permanently block it. No betrayal, no rejection, no delay, no closed opportunity. What I have truly prepared for you will remain available in the right season. And what disappears permanently was never meant to carry your future safely. I know your human heart struggles with this truth, because pain often makes you focus more on what ended than on what was prevented. But one day, you will thank me for what did not work out, not because the loss was easy, but because eventually you will see what the closed door protected you from. My beloved child, there were doors you cried over that secretly carried destruction behind them. People who smiled while quietly planning to misuse your loyalty. Environments that looked promising but would have suffocated your peace over time. Opportunities that appeared successful outwardly but would have left your spirit emotionally empty. And because your emotions were attached, you could not yet see the hidden danger. So I intervened, sometimes gently, sometimes painfully, but always intentionally. I know it hurt when certain doors closed suddenly, especially the ones you believed were finally your breakthrough. You thought your waiting season was finally over, only to watch everything disappear unexpectedly. And in those moments, discouragement whispered that your life would never move forward. But my child, closed doors are often divine redirection. I was not removing your future, I was rerouting it, because your destiny is too important to be built inside the wrong place. Do you remember how devastated you became after certain endings? How you replayed every detail trying to understand what went wrong? You blamed yourself, questioned your worth, wondered if you somehow ruined the blessing yourself. But hear me clearly now. Some doors closed because I answered prayers you did not even know you were praying. Prayers for peace, prayers for protection, prayers for genuine love, prayers for alignment. You were asking for blessings while still emotionally attached to things that would have delayed them. So I removed what could not carry your future, even while your heart fought against the separation. My beloved, there are people watching this message who still feel wounded over opportunities that disappeared years ago, still grieving relationships that suddenly collapsed, still carrying confusion over why life moved in directions they never expected. But if only you could see the full picture now, you would realize how many hidden disasters were avoided through those painful endings. Because not every open door comes from me, and not every closed door comes against you. Some doors close because your spirit deserves something healthier, something safer, something more aligned with your true calling. That is why your discernment has become stronger lately. You are beginning to feel peace differently now. You no longer chase every opportunity simply because it looks exciting. You no longer ignore the heaviness in your spirit just to avoid disappointment. You are learning that peace matters more than temporary excitement. That wisdom came through the closed doors. Nothing was wasted, my child. There are moments ahead where you will suddenly look back at certain endings and whisper, "Thank you, God, for not letting that work out." That realization is coming, because the new doors I am preparing will carry a different kind of peace, a different kind of clarity. You will no longer need to force what belongs to you. You will no longer constantly fight for emotional stability inside every connection. You will no longer beg people to choose you while ignoring the value I already placed inside your spirit. What comes next will feel different, calmer, safer, more aligned, not perfect, but peaceful. And that peace will become one of your greatest confirmations. My beloved child, some of the deepest suffering in your life came from trying to reopen doors I already closed. You kept revisiting old pain, old relationships, old environments, old versions of yourself, because familiarity felt safer than trusting the unknown future I was leading you toward. But the future cannot fully arrive while your spirit remains emotionally trapped in the past. That is why this season has required release. Release of old attachments, old expectations, old dreams that no longer align with your awakening. Because where I am taking you now, you cannot carry the emotional chains of your old season anymore. The new door will require a freer spirit, a healed heart, a wiser mind, and slowly, through every disappointment, I have been preparing you for it. My child, there is already movement happening around your next chapter, even if you cannot fully see it yet. Conversations are shifting, opportunities are aligning, people are being repositioned. And while you grieved over what closed, heaven quietly began preparing something far better than what you lost. That is the part your spirit has not fully seen yet. The story did not end at the closed door. The closed door was only the redirection point, and soon you will begin walking toward opportunities that no longer require you to abandon your peace in order to keep them. That is what healthy blessing feels like. Not constant confusion, not endless anxiety, not emotional exhaustion. Peace, clarity, alignment. My beloved, stop measuring your future through what failed in your past. Your story is still unfolding, and the doors ahead of you carry possibilities your exhausted heart has not even imagined yet. You have cried long enough over what closed. Now prepare your spirit for what is opening, because soon, very soon, you will understand why I refuse to let certain things work out. And when the right door finally opens, you will realize the closed one was mercy all along.